Alright, just came up with another idea following up on that last video where we showed how to trigger the Malbers animations from the new input system. And one of the topics was actually time skip or setting time. So of course, if you want to skip in time, you can use the game system. But what if you are using a system like I use Distant Lands, what's it called, Cozy Weather 2. Just take a look. Yes, Cozy Weather 2. I also have it in this project. So let's say while the animal is laying down, we just want to speed up time. Makes sense, right? The game is a game that takes place in nature. Sometimes it gets very dark at night. There's no artificial lights. So you want to skip ahead until the morning. So there are two ways we can do it. We can just set the time to like morning instantly, or we could like skip over time, so you basically fast forward. But let's try to do that. So we already have our moves with everything set up. But to be able to skip time, we need something to interact between Distant Lands and the new input system. But we already have the new input system part because we're just using Unity events. So between the new input system and Cozy Weather, we need something. So we need to write a short middleware again. And from the old one, you can see I have this one called time override. But for this one, let's do a new one. So in my game scene, I actually have an empty object here. That's usually something I always place, and I call it zero, just to zero out where zero is in the map, so I have something to work from. But let's call this one time manager. Let's create a new script called where is it? Here we go. Time manager. No. That's just feels wrong. Amazing time manager. Let's open the script. There we go. It's empty. So of course the first thing we want, I get rid of these. I have no use for these because we're just going to be calling some classes or functions. So of course the first thing we want to do is to make sure we have a connection to the Cozy Weather system. So we'll be using Distant Lands. I think it's Cozy. Yes, there we go. We want to connect our Cozy Weather Sphere. So leave the script for now. Go back into the scene, and I'm just gonna add Cozy to the scene. I think it's here, Cozy, because we need to see what it is actually adding to the scene. So just delete the existing light. There we go. We're already getting a nice cloud box. In fact, if you don't know, Cozy is adding like a sphere around everything. So you can see the weather is taking place inside that box. Let's go back to the moves. And this is the one we want to control. But you can see it can be a scary system to want to interact with. But what we want to interact with is this module called time. We can say there's this thing called current ticks. So that's one of the things we can change. Let's see, movement settings. That's tick speed. So it's ticking away per second. So let's make sure we're staying in scene view and hit play. And let's just test out the timer so we can see what is it we want to adjust. So here you can see the time is going, and it's night, day, right. We have stop time, and we have tick speed. See, it's going really fast now. So 50 is like a fast sleep, right? In tick speed. Okay. I'm going to See if we can find where this is connected. But it's in the cozy weather module. However, each of these is like scriptable assets or scriptable objects being added on top of the script. But let's try it out to see if we can just directly interface it through this one. So I'm going to open my amazing time manager. So we want to make a reference to the script itself. If you don't know what the script is called, a tip is when you click these, you can right click here and then you can either go to directory, find properties, or edit script. So if we go to directories, we can see it's right here. Which also already gives me a good idea about what we can interface with, just etc. I'm just skimming over if I see something with time. Not really. Let's try in the script. It's often easier just doing it in here. So this time we're let's do serialize. Serialize field. And we want to add cozy weather. Yeah, there we go. Cozy weather. Let's just call it a weather thingy. What else do we need? We want to expose some variables we can adjust at runtime. So we saw two variables immediately, but let's hang on to that for a minute. I want to make a public function for the other scripts to interact with this. Public void time stuff. There we go. Hit save. And I found an easy way is simply now we have weather thingy. We have something called time. Oh, we got time control. Interesting. Override skip time. Ticks to skip. Skip weather system forward by tick skip value. Okay, so that's like an immediate jump. What is transitioning time? Not sure. Smoothly skips time. There we go. This is what we want. What does it take? It takes a float, how long we want to skip ahead, and the time. Well, time to find out what it means. So let's say we want to skip, we need to see how long each time is. And this is per project, right? Because you can adjust it to your own time profile. So it's 360 long one day. Around 120 is morning. Okay. So if we want to skip, we want to skip maybe 200. Time. Let's put in a value of 300. I'm not sure what it does. But what we are going to do instead to find out is I'm going to create a int, call it a time to skip. Oh, it's a float. Time to skip. Email 200. I'm gonna make one called float. Time question mark. We don't know what it is right now. Right? We're gonna exchange this value to time to skip. We're gonna change this one time question mark. Okay. I think that's all we need to do. Now we need to make sure we can actually connect. So we need to make sure somewhere this is connected, otherwise this will not work. So we have our, didn't we create a game object? There we go, time manager. And it was in the same as this one, so time manager, amazing time manager. And here we go. Just gonna drag this in for now. Save. So nothing will happen now. Now I want to hook it up to the Malbers animal animation. So when the moose is laying down, this happens. I want to make sure I call it something. Well, we call it time stuff. Let's rename that to skip time now. It tells me when I'm looking in the list, skip time now. this is what's gonna happen. We could also expand it to take the inputs directly from the event system, which enables even more options. So sometimes we could skip a little time, sometimes a long time. Let's go to the moves. So now we need to make a choice. Do we want to do this on a ability enter, or do we want it when we press the button? Well, right now we're just gonna do it on when we press the button. So I go into my player input. Down here I'm gonna add another event. I'm gonna pull in the time manager. Go to my script, amazing time manager. Skip time now. I'm gonna hit save. When I hit play, nothing will happen still until we trigger the new input system, usually by a controller or input on the keyboard. Time is already moving very, very fast. You can see it's like 50. Let's put it back to, was it 0.1 or something? Put it to morning. There we go. Let's go to game view. Player is working. Let's see. Nothing, but also no errors. We can see it's working because you can see in the debug or in the console. Oh, it's actually working. Look at the speed. Time is moving. And I spam clicked it 69 times. So it will probably do this 69 times. Let's stop and try that again. Let's pay more attention this time. But it's verified, it's working. Now we just need to look into the adjustment. Why is it continuing? Why was there a delay? Looking at the time, tick speed is set at 0.1, current tick. I press one time. Nothing happened. I can see in the console it registered 3 press. Oh, I can see what's going on. When I'm holding it, it's speeding up. You can see every time I click, and as soon as I let go, that means we need some way to stop it. Okay, good to know. Let's go back to the script. So this is working. Time skip. Let's just see time. What was the other one? Current ticks. That was the alternative, right? That was the actual speed. By default, it's set to 0.1. Serialize. Come on. Serialize. Field. Float. Default. Tick. Value. 0.1. 1F. Go. Float. New. Tick. Value. 10. So we're going to test this new function with the current ticks instead. We're gonna comment this out, but this we also need to be able to stop. So public void stop time lapse now. So we want to set weather thingy current ticks lige med equals default tick value. There we go. Save. If it's gonna do what I think it does, because I think the current tick value is actually just gonna speed up time immensely. So to stop it again, we can actually use the Malbers animation. So already now we know we're gonna start it using the function we already set up here in the player, right? So we're triggering it here, but we also want to stop it. We can set up a new button to stop it, or we could actually just use the animal. So the abilities down here, they also have an event system. So you can see they're numbered down here. So if I click sleep, I think that's the one we're using, right? You can see there's event. So on sleep enter, this is actually where we can trigger the time skip start, but also when we exit, we can stop the time skip. Stop time lapse now, so we reset the timer. In fact, let's put in the start as well and remove it from the input system, so it's actually all going through Malbers. Skip time now. So both skip will start when the animal is laying down, and it will stop when we raise the animal up. That also means we need to go into the player input system down here and remove that one. Let's test it. Oh, almost dropped the controller. It's working. Still working. I'm gonna hit sleep. Let's go to time to see what's going on here. So it just set time to something. Recheck my script. Yeah, it just sets current tick to tick value. So current tick is this one. Of course we need to set tick speed. But that's a good test. Now we know we can immediately set the time to something we want. Tick speed. That's not available. So we definitely need to use this one up here. So it's very clear now that we need to figure out what these are. Let's see if they have a API. So this one we will not be needing. These we will not be needing. Save. I think that 300 is a reference to the full time here, right? So it's 360. Current ticks, yes. So if you wonder what I did there, so when we are using a connection to something like this, right, and we have this function, you can select the function, right click, and you can peek the code so it will open part of the code so you can see what's going on, or you can just jump straight to the code by go to definition, and here you can see what we are calling. So we're calling this time to skip and time via this coroutine called transition time, and I can see it's right here. So this one, time, t time, and I'm just trying to see where it's used and how it's used. It's used as a divider, so it's divided by t, and t is time. So it's 1 minus, oh, that's 1 minus over time over itself. And transition speed while t is less than 0 or greater than 0, and then we subtract. Okay, so that's the full time we actually want the time skip to happen. So how long for the process to happen? And it's counting in frames. Okay, so let's say this might be more reasonable to set to 50. And I forgot to look what the time to skip was. Ticks to skip, that's how long forward we want to go. So we want to go, well, we had 100, so we want to go to 350 over 50 frame. Let's see. We need to update the function on the animal because we remove one of the functions from the script. Go to the animal, modes, click on sleep. This one, you can see it's already complaining, but this one is still here. Save. Hit play. It's working. Gonna hit lie down. Oh, we need to switch to the time so we can see what's going on. I only hit it once, I'm not touching it again. But it definitely looked like we skipped. I clicked it again. You can follow in the... Well, you can't really see the console because of my camera. Let's get him up. Let's go to morning. We're at 125.6 now. I hit the button. And nothing. I spammed the button now. So there's definitely an issue here. Okay. Time to debug. Want to debug. Open my script. Debug. Log. Running. Go back. Because the message we're getting down here is from the event system, right? Moose. Player input. Oh. Player input. Events. Player. Run this event now. Oh yeah, that's right. We added a event, so now we can just remove this debug because we don't want it anymore. Hit save. Hit play. Now we should get a new message saying running. We got, so that's working. Okay, so we know the script is executing as we want to. Oh, hang on. Time manager. It's not updating in here. 50. Want to script 300 ahead. Still, oh, yes, it's working. Okay, so my own fault, right? Let's stop that. So it still takes a long time. Let's set that to maybe 10. Let's go to cozy, hit play. Gonna keep an eye on the current ticks and the speed. So it's at 231 now, and I hit the button. And it's speeding up. Perfect. Okay. Now we can expand on this, because maybe we actually want to skip different times. So I'm gonna add a float input and call it special time, because maybe we're doing something special in the game, doing something. If special the special time is not null, is greater or equal to 1. Yes. If there's more than 1 in the timer, we do this. And basically we want to disable this, take this, put this in here, and then we want to put in special time. There we go. So if there's nothing in special time, we'll just be running this. Or we could put 0 in special time, then it will also run this, basically disabling the function. Now we need to go back to the animal to make sure. Special time. Click sleep, go to events. Time skip now. If we leave it at 0, it will do whatever the default is set to up here in this manager, and it's 200 over 10. But if we adjust the value, we have to click sleep again, and then we say, was it 360? Yeah, 360. So if I put in 360, I expect it to move ahead 1 day. Go to time, hit play. We are at 2:30 when we start the game. Animal lays down. Time is moving forward. There we go, it stops at 2:32. Perfect! That's the functionality we wanted, right? You skip ahead, but as a developer, we decide when to skip to. One last thing we want to add is to be able to always skip to morning, right? So right now we can see it's afternoon. This is night. This is early morning, so yeah, early morning. Lights is coming up. Tick 100. So I'm gonna add one more function. We can call from outside. Void skip to morning. And this is where we want to just set the current ticks, right? So weather thingy current. It already has a function. Did you see that? Current day. I think that's related to the days. Current ticks equal 100. Oh. Oh, up here. I could just feel there was something off. I just couldn't see it. So now if we go to the animal and say the player should only have the option to skip until morning, I can now go into this and say skip to morning, and there's no other functionality, just click that. We can set this to evening. Hit save. Ideally we would actually do it over time so you get this nice sunset, and we now know how, because we can just set it to its current target, right? By subtracting the maximum day value from where we want to go. The result is actually the time we want to move. But for testing purpose, let's just see if we can skip to morning. Controller, sleep. Oh, forgot to go to cozy. Yeah, it's already at 100, so that also works. So ideally, if we want to, let the player decide when they want to sleep. Let's say the time was now 267. We would subtract that from 360, which is the max, right? So 360 minus 267 plus 100. So that would be 193 in that instance from this point. And we could actually just allow the player at any time to skip until morning. Even from noon, maybe, by doing this calculation. And this number is the amount of ticks we need to skip. Nice! I hope it was useful. Thank you for watching. So, another small middleware video that's really useful for like indie developers when you want to make different assets work together. Any ideas, comments, or suggestions for other things, let me know in the comments below. Subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.